everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to be doing an episode in my Create This Book 2 series. If you have not seen my previous video, I did a mid-completion flip through and also just gave some updates on how far I have come in this book. So without further ado, let's get going. Can you see me now? So the first prompt says create a modified character. So essentially you are supposed to pick a character and then modify one thing about them. So I will let you know the modification later on as I complete it, but I'm going to be doing the Grinch over here. So I took a piece of printer paper and sketched out this little Whoville Grinch scene because it's Christmas time and I love the Grinch. So I sketched him out on here, and then I'm going to be making this pattern with a separate piece of paper to use to cut out some green felt because I like to add lots of texture to my pages, so then it just makes it a little bit easier to size everything correctly. So I also ended up coloring the Grinch with just some markers. This would have been cool if I did this with like fabric, but that was just way too out there and complicated. So in the background I'm using some watercolors to paint in some trees, and then also behind the Grinch there is his big bag of Christmas stuff that he has stolen from Whoville. I guess we are who we are till we're falling off. I can hear you calling. Will I hear you often? You said always if I stay in your head every day, always on my brain, think of you, everything. And to continue on with the background, I'm going to be using some very light blue colors to kind of add some snowy mountains and hills in the background. And I realized that I'm doing this on printer paper, which is entirely not the right type of paper to use with watercolors, but this is no high quality artwork. This is just to Create This Books and or art journal, so it totally works. So I'm just gluing on the felt that I cut out before, and then the one modification that I did is instead of having Max the dog, I have Max as a cat, so he's just sitting on the bag of Christmas stuff on the right. For all of the Grinch's like furry parts of his Santa hat and Santa costume, I am using some cotton balls and I just glued those on. And after the first base layer of watercolors was dry, I'm just going on with some darker colors to add in this string of lights, and also added some ribbons, sequins, some little beads, just kind of decorated it with a bunch of different fun little Christmas decor. So you can see Max the cat over here instead of a dog. So I thought that was a fun touch because I am absolutely obsessed with cats. So and I just really wanted to do a Grinch page. This was the perfect opportunity for that. Alright, so the next page has the prompt create a merge, so choose two animals and merge them together. So I didn't really put a lot of thought into the animals I wanted to do. I just kind of started drawing, and I ended up going with a cat and mouse because obviously I can't get enough of the cat themed pages here, and mouse was the perfect complement to this. So I'm just sketching this out on a piece of printer paper, just like it's not like a super complicated drawing or anything. Once that was drawn out, I'm using some watercolors to paint in both of the different sides. So I folded the paper in half to kind of help to separate the two. But I wanted to do something that incorporated like a magnetic type of like doll dressing situation. It'll make sense later. But I used to have this like paper doll thing, but it was like magnetic, and I wanted to do that in here. So once this guy was all complete, I cut him out as best as I can, and then I'm going to be making some clothing pieces for this weird animal to later add magnets to, so that I can kind of be like a paper doll thing. I painted these all in with watercolor. I made some like head accessories, a tie, a little bow, a vest, and a bunch of other fun things. I wanted it all to kind of like sort of fit together. I tried my best, and I glued those onto some scrap pieces of cardboard with a glue stick, and then I'm going to cut those out. I wanted it to be a little bit more sturdy for a magnet, but this later ended up being like a huge problem because it was like too heavy for the magnet to actually properly work, and it was just kind of a really complex page that I didn't have totally the right supplies for, but I tried my best anyways. So I started off by putting paper clips on the back of all these clothing pieces, which turned out to not work at all because the paper clips were not going to stick to the magnetic paper except for like on the tie and the bow. So later on I ended up taking the paper clips off, which I did off camera, and added washers to the back of it because it stuck a little bit better, but still like these magnets are completely falling off of the page at this point, so it's kind of not working super well. But let's pretend that the idea works and I had the right supplies for it. So after I attached all those backings to it, I played around with the placement of the magnets. So for the cat/mouse, the magnets are underneath the paper, so you can't see them at all. And then the magnets for the pieces of clothing surrounding the animal are just kind of stuck to the page. So it works when it's lying down like this, but right when you lift it like vertical, they kind of fall off. The little ones do stick pretty well, but like the big skirt tends to kind of fall. So sort of a fail, but like kind of a really cool idea. So that's how this one turned out. And the last prompt for this video says create bleed. So I wanted to take this quite literally and make the bleeding look like blood. So I'm just going to begin by using some watercolors. I tried to saturate the color as much as possible while still having it be like pretty watery, so that when I put the book vertical, it would just kind of like drip down and look like blood. And I think it ended up turning out pretty well. So kind of the point of this page is to let the color like bleed through the pages, and it definitely did, which you can see over here. It kind of just like going on to all the other pages, and it ended up like ripping the page out because it was there's so much water on it, but that's okay. That's kind of the point of it. So once that dried, I'm going to be sketching out a heart on the right side of the page with the pencil first, and then once that was complete, I'm going to be using a black pen. This is a Muji black gel pen to make a line drawing of it. So kind of like I don't know what this technique is called, but like where it's supposed to be darker, I'm just doing more overlap of like cross hatching and dots and stuff like that. So this page is entirely not nearly as complicated as the previous ones, but sometimes that's helpful to get more pages completed. So that is how this one turned out. Almost every night, and I wish that I wouldn't think instead. I know the sun is up and I got things to do, but I don't think I've got the energy. So that is it for today's video. Let me know in the comments which one out of these 3 pages you liked the best. So if you saw my previous video, you know that I am now over halfway done after I completed these 3 pages. So I'm slowly making my way through this, and now that I'm on winter break, I do have some more time to complete some more pages. So hopefully I can get lots of Create This Book 2 videos out for you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. It's about time that I get days up staying in the same bed. I need a kickstart just to change this. I don't